The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Hello, Woo Nation. Can everybody hear me? Eric, are you there?
You bet.
All right.
Hey, everybody.
So we're glad to have Eric Vestal on our first webinar for SERPWoo. And I'm going to do a little intro for Eric. Eric, hold on here. Eric is the owner of the Vestal Link Agency, and he caters to high volume advertisers in the affiliate marketing space. And he has a focus with SEO and conversion rate optimization. And for 10 years, he has served as either the agency of record or campaign architect for more than 200 advertisers and 11 Fortune 1000 companies. He's generated more than 15 million in sales for those companies and more than 10 times that as many leads for his clients. So Eric is definitely a respected member of Woo Nation and definitely a person that we're glad to have on the show today. And he's going to be helping me answer some of your guys' questions from our prior survey and any questions that you have today, as well as adding in any information for what we're talking about. So, Eric, if you want to take a minute to add a little bit more to yourself, I know that me and Eric has been talking, and he's told me about some products that he has. He's currently working on his second product, and he has over 200 members for that product in 4 months. And he's a believer in the Stone 8 theory. So if you can let us know anything else about yourself, Eric, and about those topics, just as a brief intro, that'd be great.
Well, thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure and honor to be here talking with you folks today. That's a very kind intro, and really about the only thing I'll add to it is, without knowing exactly who the audience is, I'm probably a lot like some of the folks that are out there, in that I started in design and dev and worked in as an affiliate, and then moved into a media space. Lead gen turns into refining that. You broker bigger deals. You move into different spaces. So it's a career that I've really enjoyed. I get a lot of pleasure out of helping clients and providing value and generating leads and stacking up chips, and it's a pleasure to be here. If anybody has any questions to fire my way, please feel free to do so.
Great. Yeah, and you guys listening can type into the chat, and then we'll go over that later to try to answer some questions. But if you've got questions for Eric, please don't be afraid to put those into the chat. And we'll go ahead and get on the way with the webinar. We've got a lot of information, possibly going to run over the 45-minute mark. So if any of our attendees need to drop off just for time restrictions, this is a recorded event, and we'll go out on an email with a link to the recording so that you can watch later as well. You have to be a member of SERPWoo, though, to get the recording, because we are going to send it out to our member list. So just to get on with it, we're going to start with actually a promotion. So if you're a free member right now, which we did advertise this on Twitter, so if you're not a member of SERPWoo, paid or free, if you sign up for a paid plan before the end of this webinar, you will get a special sign-up bonus that's just for you. These are only for new paid members created during the webinar, and it must be a new paid account. And this bonus ends at the end of this webinar, which will happen at around 60 minutes from now at 4 p.m. EST today. Now, for our current members of SERPWoo, if you're a current paid member, you can get this same bonus, which we will announce at the end of the webinar, if you upgrade your current paid plan. So this is only for paid plans that get upgraded during the webinar, and it ends also in 60 minutes at 4 o'clock EST today. So here's the information on Eric. There's his website link to vestalink.com if you want to reach out to Eric afterward. And I've already gone over his information, so we'll go ahead and jump into our next slide, which is actually questions that a lot of the SERPWoo members had from our prior survey a few months ago. And one of the questions that we got were that the domain age and social metrics don't always work well. And I definitely agree with you. We did have some problems with it, but essentially there's a delay in how we run the numbers. The social metrics were updated almost instantly, and age was taking 6 to 7 days to update. And that was because we're seeing over 2 million new URLs a day. If a URL doesn't ping back data when we actually try to pull it for you, that URL is going to get skipped into the next round. So that's probably where a lot of the delays came from. But we've been working on this. The issue is pretty much solved. We're more focused on getting the data accurate, and we're currently at a 90% accuracy rate across the board for all social signals and domain age. And a lot of this is to do with international domains, but we are working on it. We have pretty much solved it, but just know that our focus is on the accuracy so that you always have the right data. One of the other questions we had was that we needed to track local, and I definitely agree with you there. We did need to do that, and we have done it. We're currently providing real local SERP result pages at the city, state, zip level. We're offering map packs as their own listings, whereas a lot of other companies just group the map pack as one listing, or they group it as separate listings, but it's really jumbled. It's not kind of broken out in the interface, and it's really confusing to read. We're doing language tracking, and this is available for all the countries that we track in SERPWoo. And just to give you an example, if you want to track the keyword VIN on google.com in English, you're going to get a lot of results that are particular to vehicle identification numbers. However, with our local tracking, when somebody types in VIN for Google Canada and they're setting their parameters as they're looking for French and that they're located in Toronto, this is what you're actually going to find out is that VIN in French is actually a keyword for wine. So it's a totally different result. It's different if you're in Toronto or Quebec. It's different if it's Google Canada with English. But if you're really needing to narrow down for yourself or your clients a particular location and a language, SERPWoo is the tool to use, and we've implemented that. And we've got a lot of guys copying us right now, and we're definitely innovating in this space. So if you're looking for local, we definitely have local. We've got it broken down. We've got the map packs, and we've got everything that you need to track all your local data. Now, a lot of people have asked me, why are we just tracking the top 20? And I say, why not the top 20? It's basically where all the action is. We do top 30 for online reputation management so that you guys who are doing reputation management can see what's bubbling up. Maybe from the third page, there's somebody that's coming from position 23rd, or there's a negative review that's bubbling up from the third page, getting ready to hit the second page and maybe hitting the front page. We also pulled the top 100. So a lot of you guys asked for that because you were with traditional rank trackers where you were used to just inputting your own domain and tracking where it was at in the top 100. And maybe you were putting in 2 or 3 competitor URLs also and tracking those. So if you were delaying joining SERPWoo because you were afraid that you weren't able to do your traditional rank tracking, we do pull top 100. We definitely have plans to pull top 500. We're definitely working on the accuracy, and with the accuracy we're seeing right now, top 100, we're definitely confident that we'll be moving the top 500. With that said, our third-party data that we pull in will just be for top 20 or 30 only. And probably one of the best reasons that we're looking at top 20 is, personally, when I created SERPWoo, I was really looking for a research tool on my competitors. I really wanted to find out who was ranking for my particular keywords. And I really wasn't interested in first, second, third, or fourth place because I knew that these people could be spammers. They could be doing black hat stuff and they were popping in and out. So why did I want to copy or research their site if they're not going to be here tomorrow? So when I looked at the top 20, I was really looking for who are the top guys. Because if you got a top site, it's going to be in the top 20. But who were the top guys who had lasting, long-standing ranking power? And as I looked at the top 20 and I tracked it by hand in Excel for multiple days, I was really able to pinpoint who the true players were. And a lot of times these were guys who were sixth or seventh, who maybe were second or third before. But instead of popping in and out, they were actually ranking in a SERP for more than 3 or 4 months. And those were the guys that I really wanted to find out how they got their staying power, how they were ranking, and just do better than them once I copied their results. So the top 20 is really a reflection of looking at my competitors, looking at algorithm changes to see if they're affecting me plus my competitors, and seeing maybe who's that important new competitor that's maybe currently ranking 17th, but doing everything he can, but now he's jumped to 12th and probably going to jump to 8th tomorrow. So that hopefully that answers the question on the top 20 and any confusion where people confuse us with a traditional rank tracker. So we are a competitive intelligence tool. We do have rank tracking if you want to do that. But we're really looking at providing you accurate data so that when you're in your SERP and you're in your niche, you have the tools needed to perform better than your competitors. We got a lot of questions from local lead generation guys, and this might be something that Eric can talk about as well as far as how he uses SERPWoo for his clients or for local lead gen. But a lot of people said, how can we use SERPWoo for local lead gen? And my answer to that was always gaining data that no other consultant has and can provide them. So a lot of people can get keyword ideas. Our keyword finder tool actually pulls in keywords from other related sites. So it's not just scraping Google auto suggest, and it's not just doing Google Keyword Planner results. You're also going to be able to provide your potential customers where their competitors are ranking and how they've ranked and all of their metrics. We've actually got a video from Brian Tucker who has an 80 to 90% closing ratio using SERPWoo for potential clients. And his video is located at serpwoo.com/videos/. And we'll be sending that link out as well in our email. But you can look at that and kind of get an idea of how Brian uses it. But essentially, you know, if you know that you're going to go after certain clients, you know, maybe you want to look at targeting dentists in Toronto, you can start tracking those keywords with SERPWoo and get about 30 to 40 days of data and then compile all you need to approach these dentists and say, hey, here's where your competitors are at. Here are some of the algorithm changes that we've possibly seen within your SERPs. And here's all the data for that. And you're basically going to wow them and overwhelm them with the information so that it's hard for them to say no. Now, Eric, I don't know if you've used any tools for your clients, but are you doing anything with local lead gen or using SERPWoo for your clients to kind of close sales?
Both of those, correct, yes. As an agency, you know, I kick myself for not becoming an advertiser years and years sooner, but having said that, I still have a lot of functioning agency things going on a daily basis. So at any given year, I'll have local clients all the way up to international and regular and standard affiliate stuff. And I've used these metrics to close deals, change minds, emphasize things, remove mental barriers to entry that people didn't know that they had there before. It's the intelligence word for it is really, really accurate in my experience, because there's a lot of tools out there, and there's even a handful that people can bring to the table that have a specialized metric to them or a KPI that's really interesting. But this allows you to really get a bird's eye view of the competitors, just everything, their entire footprint. It's too much to say in one sentence, but their entire aptitude. How good are they? How bad are they? What are they doing? What are they not doing? Who are they linked to? When you see everything just historically going the crapper for a handful of places, there's a lot of data to go through. And so the report itself, even if you just bullet pointed it through, I imagine would get you a 50-50 close. But if you know how to turn the data into actionable results and just do something with it, then you're going to make lifelong clients with it. It's not anything that's saturated yet, so there's not many even people that pride themselves to be quite educated that would know how to read the data. And so it really gains you a lot of leverage if you walk in with a powerful presentation that shows not only it shows the entire process, not just the data itself. The data is the sizzler. I have to agree with the client that you have that's had high success rates with using the reports, because it really is a cinch. Not only do most agencies, and especially if we're talking about small local lead gen. Local lead gen is, in my experience, not the same animal at all, not near as competitive as the kind of thing that we'll see on a national level or on a much higher scale. And so you can really pick out the low-hanging fruit, whether it's going to be a really easy campaign or it's something that you're going to have to put a lot of effort into, or do a lot of different properties to get what you want out of. You can get it. You can get yourself into a lot of C-level executives, whereas with just the data alone. So I'll quit waxing on about it. But I love the reports. I love the reports. I wasn't born an SEO. I'm an analytical type, so I love it. I have an aptitude for it, but I wasn't born an SEO. These are how I quality control the people that I go to do certain things. So not only do I use it, I appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and as somebody walking into my business, if somebody were to hand me all this information, the first thing that I'm going to think of is this consultant or this person actually cares and actually does want to work with me because they pulled all this data and I've never seen it before. So that would be my advice to people who want to use this to close clients with local lead gen. But thanks again, Eric. That's a great answer.
Clients love data and reports. Yeah, of course. Clients love reports and data, and they love something that, if you show them a live screencast or you're in there putting it up on their boardroom, it's the kind of thing that they may have never gone through. And in 30 minutes of just going through the same things that are in the tour when you log in, you're likely to gain some fans that think you're a superhuman SEO just because you can use the tool that these guys built so well.
Yep, I agree. Our next question in the survey was that people asked us is, why should they make the switch to SERPWoo? And my thought on that is, traditional rank trackers monitor your URL and maybe 2 or 3 competitors, and whoever agreed that this should be the standard or this is what you really want to watch. To me, SERPWoo can track your domain. We can do the top of 100, so we definitely got that covered for you. But where the other rank trackers fall out is maybe my competition isn't the 2 or 3 people that I entered into their rank tracker. They might be my competitor today, but what if they fall out tomorrow? I'm going to have to go back in and put in a new URL, a new competitor to watch. These rank trackers are not letting me know who are the new up-and-comers. They're not letting me know really if the reason why my site tanked was because I've done something, or if it was just an algorithm update that actually affected everybody in that SERP. So when somebody says, why make the switch, I kind of look at it as, we're giving you what traditional rank trackers have already provided you for years and has said this is the de facto standard. But where SERPWoo is coming in is, we're able to give you data that none of them are able to give you. We're able to give you reports that nobody else can give you. We're also doing a lot of things for online reputation management for professionals, where you can watch the reviews as they hit your keyword for your client, and you can actually tag these URLs as either positive or negative or commercial in nature. And that way you have a quick glance that once you tag these URLs, you can see how your work is impacting the client. I'll let Eric chime in here real quick on this about why making the switch or about the online reputation management.
I appreciate it, because that may be the single biggest benefit to a program like SERPWoo is the reason why being agile. It keeps you agile. There isn't another metric out there that's going to be this on top of it. And +1 for the ORM stuff. The online reputation management is hands down going to be, I think it may be one of the largest untapped niches. No matter how big it may be, it's going to get a lot bigger. The more basement CEOs and individuals gain fame, it's going to be a lot bigger deal. And so really, you can find out so much with the data that it's ridiculous. You can find out before, you can even, if you know the footprint of a certain agency or a set of agencies, you can even find out just through cross-referencing, link architecture through the data here, who's all in one house. It's really invaluable stuff to stay agile, so props. Thanks.
Correct. Yeah, great answer. And I also like to say, there's a lot of people who can build a rank tracker, and there's plenty of those out on the market. Would you rather be with a copycat, or would you rather be with a team who's innovating and releasing tools all the time and changing the face of SEO and rank tracking and competitive intelligence? Because when we release new tools that nobody else has, our members are going to be months ahead of all of SERPWoo's competitors, and that's going to give you an edge that other consultants and other marketers don't have. Kind of with the online reputation management, to give everybody out there a view, this is our Goggle mode, and this is where you can tag URLs, watch visually, and monitor what's going on. In this particular example, everything that's red is a negative review. Everything that's a very light green is positive. And then we do have categorizations for news, commercial, and neutral. And you can get a quick glance. We're monitoring Homer Simpson here, just as an example of how your particular SERP is doing today, what it did yesterday, what it did a week ago, and kind of look at what's going on here. And there's definitely no other tool that has this particular functionality for online reputation management people. Eric, do you have something else here?
Excuse me, I kept it on mute and was 2 clicks away.
Oh, sure, no problem.
No,
Okay, great. I'll keep moving on then. We get a lot of people that say that they love to.
Excuse me, I don't mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, that's totally unprofessional, but there was one thing that you had mentioned about it being a competitive edge. Sometimes with a larger campaign, something that you're augmenting a big affiliate buy or a big media buy with, it may not be, you may need it to get the ROI out of the campaign to stay positive, to keep everything going well. For local guys, though, this is I would imagine this is just a carpet bomb on competition if you learn how to use it when it comes to the local space.
Yeah. I get, a lot of people that say that they really love to see the parasites. So, some of you all might be seeing my PowerPoint instead of the screen here. Let me make one change here real quick. Okay, I think we're on track now. I've been flipping through the PowerPoint presentation, so I'm going to rewind back just a little bit, just a couple slides, and show the people the Goggle mode here. for everybody out there, we'll resend this back out. But this is that goggle mode that I was talking about for online reputation management professionals, where we've got the red listings that are negative and the light green that are positive, and then we do have neutral, news, and commercial. So again, sorry that you've all listened to me talk and either been stuck on slide one, but we'll keep going through it. But this is definitely functionality that other rank trackers don't have, and this is kind of where we're innovating so that you can easily see this, tag these URLs, and keep track of stuff. We get a lot of people who say that they love being able to see parasite sites who make good targets within their niche. And kind of the thing that SERPWoo will allow you to do is you'll be able to see new domains and platforms come in and out of all the keywords and SERPs that you track. And this is kind of where another one of our functionality comes in called SERP sightings, is that while you're watching these new domains and URLs come in, you can actually use our SERP sightings tool to input that domain or that URL and see if that's a domain that's getting penalized or maybe favored by Google. And it's going to give you a lot of extra insight into that domain or into that URL so that you can see if this is a serious player or if this is possibly a parasite site that you can create your own Tumblr on or your own blog post on and kind of use it to your advantage. And this is kind of an example here of SERP sighting. What I've put in here is I've noticed certain URLs that popped up in some of the SERPs that I monitor, and one of them was Rebel Mouse. And by using SERP sightings, this is just the top half of the information. There's a lot of information that's below that wouldn't fit on the screen. But when I put in Rebel Mouse, I could easily see that this domain had a history across everything that we track in SERPWoo of definitely going up, and this is showing the amount of number 1 through number 10 placements, or like we call data points, that we're finding on this domain. So this domain has a great history of every week or every month having more and more number 1 through number 10 placements for everything we track, and it was slowly growing up, and then it just shot up. And that's definitely given me a signal that possibly Google is favoring this, or that other webmasters are jumping on the Rebel Mouse and creating new pages, maybe because they have data too that indicates it's ranking well. I also seen webs.com, and this is kind of an example of a site that maybe I'm not sure that I want to piggyback off webs.com, because even though it was growing up, the amount of number 1 through number 10 listings is actually less numerically than Rebel Mouse, and it does have a lot of ups and downs and peaks and valleys. When we go to the next one, we're looking at Weebly, and Weebly's always been a strong parasite site, and we can definitely see here that even though numerically what we're tracking for them is low, it's definitely grown over time since the first of the year. So this is also another website that could be a good potential target for you to piggyback off of. And again, this is just more data that a lot of other rank trackers or tools, maybe don't provide you, that now you're looking into your specific SERP and you're finding these specific sites are working or not working. It's going to give you more decision power to say, this is the direction that I want to go, or this is a site that I want to avoid. And you can definitely do this with your competitors too. If you were to put in a competitor URL, you might actually see where they've been hit by Google in a negative light, and that they're sliding down, or that they've slid down before and now they're coming back stronger. So this is just more data for you. There's a lot more data in SERP sites, and you've got to scroll down to see it. But we're presenting here to you what personally I look at just to get a quick glance. We do get a lot of people that say, how can I find niche ideas with SERPWoo? And I always tell people to start with our keyword finder. And if a lot of you are quick, you might actually be getting a new niche today. So what I tell people is use our keyword finder first. Start with a broad term, and then just like with any other tool, sort by volume, and then is this a keyword that has enough volume daily? Is the competition score high or low? Are you seeing any retail type URLs or other low competition signals? And just to give you an example, I put in a keyword which was Christmas lights. And when I was looking through Christmas lights, because if you want to rank for stuff for Halloween or Christmas, you're almost behind the 8 ball right now. So getting on the ball, finding out, I put in Christmas lights. And as I scrolled down, I came across one particular listing, which was Grinch Christmas lights. 2,400 in volume, which was slightly less than where I like to be, but it's definitely good enough. The competition was low. If I wanted to break into PPC, paying 69 cents is pretty acceptable for me. And when I went to go look more on Grinch Christmas lights to actually see if this was something that I wanted to rank in, I put it into SERPWoo and I tracked it for a while. And I was able to look at the volatility, which is going to tell me how much movement is there within the top 10. Is there a lot of sites coming in and out over time, or is it relatively stable? And it looks like the day that I took this picture, it was relatively unstable with a 22%, but over the long range, 13 to 14 is kind of stable. I'm able to look at in the legend who all is ranking, at least for the focus date, which was yesterday. And I can see that there's eBay, Pinterest, Etsy, Facebook, YouTube, and guys, these are perfect places that if you're wanting to at least start in maybe e-commerce, that you can definitely put up a Pinterest page, an Etsy page, a YouTube, and try to outrank these other sites for this particular keyword. I'm also looking at the online commercial intent, which is a 3 that shows me it's a heavy e-commerce keyword. And if anybody's curious, I actually looked this up on Namecheap, and the exact match domain was available. So if anybody wants to go out and buy this exact match domain, maybe source a supplier on AliExpress or through maybe somebody on Etsy, you shouldn't have any problem ranking for this particular keyword in this and this SERP, and maybe selling some stuff through e-commerce, maybe with dropship. We do get a lot of questions about how to wow the prospective clients. I think this kind of goes back to the local lead gen just a little bit that we've already covered. But you definitely want to do the work before you even call them so that you can present them a lot of information. And you're going to make yourself look like you know the industry better than they know the industry. And it's going to make it hard for them to say no to you if you close them properly. And again, I'll bring up Brian's video, which is at serpwoo.com/videos/. Now, we do get questions about volatility and if we have any insights from tracking lots of keywords using volatility over the last year. And what I can tell you is there's definitely a trend. Not trying to be negative, but if you cannot reach the top 3, sometimes the top 4, and you're doing everything you can, you might want to reevaluate what you're doing. That is, unless you like roller coasters, which showing you right here, I know this is a little messy here, but what we see, or at least what I see and me and my partner see, is that when we track keywords over time, the top 3 are definitely hard to unseat. And anything below 3rd or 4th is just a game of odds, basically. There's people popping in and out from 4th through 10th daily. It makes it hard to establish a steady business or to establish revenue. You really need to be top 3 if you want to enjoy any type of stability. And once you get to top 3, it's going to be really hard to unseat you. And I've got a few other examples. This is for New York SEO, which we tracked for almost 400 days. This is for life insurance, which is essentially showing the exact same trend, and this information is over 300 days. And then we've got every affiliate marketer's favorite term here, which is showing the exact same pattern. Now this pattern's a little different because I also pointed out that on the left-hand side of the graph, there was somebody who kind of stood out. They were sixth, fifth, and it's that dark blue line. What I find really interesting is, yes, I know that the top three is hard to unseat, and that's where the stability is now. But this person who started out ranking sixth or fifth at the beginning of the year still currently ranks uh, as of today. And this screenshot was actually done on April 21st. But this person ranked in this volatile niche for months and months on end. And if I'm somebody who's wanting to emulate another person's strategy, I'm going to look at the top three, but I'm also going to look at this person who's in the dark blue. And I don't have it broke out to which URL that is currently, but I'm going to look at this person and find out what their long-standing strategy is and what's behind their staying power. Now, they might not be top ranked, but they definitely have stability. Now, a lot of people, they get a lot of information from us and they're asking us, what should I be looking at day to day? I don't know what I should be looking at. And what I tell people is I'm looking at volatility on a keyword level, a country level, and I'm looking at it globally because I'm wanting to spot any algorithm changes. I'm looking to see who has popped in and out of my particular SERP, and I'm looking at the focus date for today. I'm changing that filter to all URLs. I'm looking at URLs with 3 days of positive movement because I definitely want to see who's coming in and out. Are there any new URLs that are ranking? And if there are, I'm going to put those into Keyword Finder and into SERP sightings. I'm going to put the same URLs that I'm finding that might be new into tools like URL Profiler, which is a great tool that you can have in addition and find out all kinds of great metrics about these URLs and pulling out a lot of data because I definitely want to find out more about this site or about this URL. And I'm also going to put these URLs into third-party services like mentions and Google Alerts so that I can be alerted when this person is doing more marketing activity. As far as SERP sightings, I'm also going to put these URLs and domains in so I can see how strong it is to really tell if this is a competitor that I need to be worried about, or if this is just simply Google giving them a little bit more weight this week for freshness or for activity, and they might pop back down later. Also, with looking at what you should be looking at day to day, for the reputation management people, is there anyone that's creeping up from the third page to the second page? Or how about the bottom of the second page to the top of the second page? What could indicate that here shortly they'll be on the front page? How are your new efforts starting to pay off for your client? And this is kind of where the goggle mode comes in, where you can easily tag the URLs and spot visually what's going on. We're also looking at maybe possible metrics changes where we've got a few ideas in the tank for updating the metrics faster so that you could possibly see over time how the metrics change as far as backlinks. It's still a future rollout, but that would be something that I would be looking at also once we roll up that feature in the future. A lot of you guys want to know how to make money with SERPWoo. You're obviously paying us for the service, and you all want to make more money out of it. And I'm telling people that maybe you approach a company or a business and offer them competitor audits as far as who's their competitor online and what they're doing, and then present that as an audit to the business or to your client. You can also watch a big niche like weight loss or maybe payday loans and wait for sites to tank in the rankings, and then offer them SEO help with the data that you collected already. So if you're watching a particular SERP, and let's say it's a local roofer in Toronto, so it's Toronto roofing. I'd watch that, wait till somebody dropped out of the SERP, and you would use SERPWoo to see that. And then I would figure out why they dropped out. Was it a penguin update, a panda update? Were they just not active and other competitors came in? And then I would approach them, because you know that they've tanked, and now you find out why. And I would approach them to try to get their rankings back. I would also find maybe long ranking sites within a particular keyword and offer to buy those sites. Maybe they don't rank top 3, but they've definitely got staying power because you've watched this particular keyword and you've seen that they've ranked anywhere from 6th to 9th for over 4 months, while everybody else has popped in, in and out more frequently. Offer to buy that site and then turn around and make that an authority site of your own. So you probably get it on the cheap, since it's not ranking very well, but it definitely has staying power. And then once you own the site, improving it, building links to it, doing some PR to it, and making it an authority of your own. We've also got my partner who has came up with traffic leaking method. And kind of give you a brief overview on that method would be to, look in these SERPs, find sites that are ranking well or long-standing sites, maybe sites that are rocketing to the top. And just to give you one example, because this topic is huge, to give you one example, going in and finding the blogs that this is happening to within your industry, and then dropping your comment and your link on those blogs. And then as people visit those sites organically for those keywords, they're obviously going to see your link and then visit your site as well. So you're kind of leaking the traffic from these sites that are rocketing up, or they're long-standing, or they're very heavily trafficked sites that you've been able to realize that that's what these sites are through SERPWoo. And then you're going on there and dropping a link so that in the future, you're getting traffic from these sites and not having to rely purely on SEO or PPC. Now it's referral traffic. We got a lot of people that ask about ranking opportunities and how they can spot them. Well, if you remember the Grinch Christmas lights, that was definitely a ranking opportunity there. There was lots of YouTubes, which you can go in and make a YouTube and rank just like those people did. There's Etsy, so if you're selling, you definitely know that Etsy ranks, and maybe you make an Etsy profile. And you really have to ask yourself, are you good enough to outrank a YouTube video or an Etsy spot or even an eBay spot? And a lot of people have to remember, you don't always have to be first. You can be fourth. And even though I know 4th and 5th and below is volatile, a lot of times people type in something and the first 2 results is not what they need. If I would have typed in Christmas lights and my first listing was Wikipedia, but I was a consumer, that first place is useless to me. Maybe the second position is actually a site where I can buy Christmas lights. And many times, sometimes that doesn't happen where the information that the surfer needs isn't until the 4th site. So don't always worry about being top 3 to find a ranking opportunity. Sometimes the opportunity is 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Eric, do you have any advice on that as far as what people are looking for with ranking opportunities?
Really, you hit the nail on the head, and I would just reiterate that even though all of us want to be sitting at the very top of the SERP, there's a lot of grinding involved in stacking up those lists and those keywords, but it's worth it. It's worth it. When you attack those smaller ones and you get them in volume, it's the fundamentals, and it still works. And this gives you, again, a little bit more of an agile view of it. It's as good as 3 or 4 other tools combined, and couple it with an enterprising, Excel sheet, and you've got some really, really good places to cross-reference and get some good KPIs out of it. It's especially, you know, I don't even really really focus on reaching the very top, given that a lot of the things that I have to compete in are ridiculously competitive. I'm nowhere near good enough. But with enough analysis and enough digging and enough work, you can soak up some incredible traffic by taking advantage of the low-hanging fruit that these guys leave behind.
Yeah, correct. Awesome. As far as what's coming up for SERPWoo, we definitely have in the works the ability for you to add in notes. So maybe you're tracking your site or you're tracking a SERP, and you know that you've done a lot of marketing to your site on this particular day, or you've watched something weird where somebody's dropped out that you're paying attention to. We're going to have the ability for you to make notes on that and see those notes, so that when you go back in your history, you can see why those changes maybe happened. We've also got sharing of graphs and reports via public URL that's going to be rolling out, so that you can share these reports and graphs with clients or team members or just other interested people. We've had a lot of suggestions from people about our layout and you know, how to use the site visually. So we've got a lot of improvements coming there. And in the fourth quarter, we've got some more research tools hopefully rolling out, one of which is going to really change how people do SEO research. And it's something I'm very excited about. I can't talk about it because I know that we've got some competitors or would-be competitors that are on the call right now, so you guys will just have to wait on that one. As far as what's new, we've got Singapore that recently launched. We've got site links that are broken out now. That's actually been a feature we've had for a while, but it's new since we've done the survey. Our Learning Center, which my partner's been working on very diligently and very hard to roll out for you guys. The Learning Center is going to be launching hopefully tomorrow. I've put in here 48 hours just to give us an extra day's time, but it should be ready tomorrow. We've got lots of behind-the-scenes improvements that focus on the integrity of the data and the accuracy, so you might not always see that, but you'll definitely benefit from it. We've got more APIs that we pull from, which is going to also help increase our integrity and accuracy and actually speed of how we pull this data. And we're now hitting about a 90% accuracy for many metrics that we report on. It's actually pretty amazing that you find a lot of flaws with building a service like this, that you know, maybe certain international domains don't have a creation date. And it's just the way that particular TLD works. So we're definitely improving a lot of things. We've got new things rolled out, and we definitely got bigger and better and more amazing stuff to come. So now we're on the questions. I'm going to look through the questions here, but I'm going to let Eric first, you know, maybe talk a little bit about how he can help the people on our call right now. I've definitely got a link to the SERPWoo videos. The recording will go out to all SERPWoo members. This is towards the end, so this is your last minute to get your webinar bonus. So if you are not a member or a free member and you upgrade to pay, you're going to get a bonus as long as you do it before this webinar ends. If you're a paid member and you upgrade to the next paid plan, you'll get the same bonus. And that bonus is actually a 25% increase in your keywords for your new plan. And you'll get that when after you create that new plan and send us a support ticket with the keyword vestolink.com. So Eric, if you want to talk a little bit about how you can help the people on the call, whether they're an advertiser or possibly somebody that's interested in your service, please feel free to right now.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I still work as an agent and an AOR and really a CRO, somebody that tries to increase and make more leads for less. So if anybody is in need of lead gen in an industry that I'm familiar with, and I'm in all the evergreens, I hate to use the term, but it's concise. Then please feel free to talk to me, and we'll talk some shop. And if it looks like I can help you, then I certainly will. We do specialize a lot in page design. Well, excuse me for the ping if that was on my end. We do specialize a lot, not necessarily in the initial page design, but in the CRO afterwards. So we employ a lot of metrics. We're a very data-driven place, and that's the second thing I would say to contribute as a freebie. A lot of guys may know this already, but I can tell you, as an agency guy, that a lot of deals are closed, a lot of minds are changed, a lot of checks are signed with data. Data-driven decisions are something that I don't think are given enough emphasis, and you can really open up people to funding, really, whatever it is you need to fund, or taking care of a project, or whatever your goal is, by providing enough data for them. And this, again, is about as good in one suite of data. I try to save clicks through the day because there's so many things to click on through the day. And so when you can do this many things at once, all you have to do now is put it into another metric. Now, for those that are already operating at a high level, I have other services that may not be the most effective for you. You may already be operating at a higher level than what I can provide help for. But I do have a service that my second product that Jason was nice enough to mention in the beginning of the webinar. I have a product that is really an entry level for those that are curious about a couple of things. And since I've been doing this so long, there's two things I know how to do well. I've got a really capable toolbox, and I have a very good timeline and workflow that's proven to be quite effective over the years. And it doesn't stay the same, but the fundamentals are always there. So what I've done is I built a product. It's called whitelabelrevenue.com, and it is, in essence, a zero barrier to entry portal for anybody, whether it's an individual trying to be a entrepreneur, or it's an agency trying to be more competitive, it's a CRO trying to learn something new, or it's just somebody trying to be more efficient with their time. White Label Revenue really provides a dashboard like this, saves you lots of clicks, lots of time. It's not as niche specific as this, but if you're a digital marketer, you're not likely to find another basket of tools unless it's this comprehensive and effective and actionable, and the timeline and workflow behind these things. You're not likely to find something unless you've been doing this a decade. So whitelabelrevenue.com, I appreciate the opportunity to put that out there. It's something that I'm quite proud of. We also do have an invite-only program into White Label Revenue that is not the educational toolbox side of things. It is much more oriented towards injecting folks that want to be a partner, rev share, purchase media. We will take care of the campaigns, the media buying, everything from start to finish. We have the systems. We're already running the campaigns. In essence, what we've done is we've opened up our media purse to anybody that wants to come in, because we're quality controlling the whole thing, and we're transparent. So I'm done. Thank you for your time, everybody.
Sure. Thank you, Eric. As far as questions that a lot of you had, probably the majority of the questions were actually about the presentation, where you all were seeing the software instead of the actual presentation. That's entirely my fault. I apologize for that. What I will do is this recording will be going out to everybody. I'll include the PowerPoint as well, so that while you're listening to the recording, when you get it in an email, you'll also have my PowerPoint, and you can kind of go through it and see what the first half of the presentation was. Not really sure what went wrong. I've got GoToWebinar on the presentation, so I'm not sure why it wasn't showing it. As far as other questions, there wasn't really that many. We've got Lee that said, this info is like gold. Thanks so much, guys. No, thank you, Lee, for being on the call today. We've got John, who has said, how accurate are the UK SERP listing numbers for the keyword tool? We do get the numbers if you're talking about the rank, 1 through 20 or 1 through 30 or the top 100. The top 20, if that's what you're referring to, is the actual rank listing numbers. It's pretty accurate. We test, we spot test these a lot, and we get a lot of feedback from members. And as far as the UK, we haven't had any reported errors So there is going to be some fluctuations, as far as IP addresses. If maybe you're in London and somebody else is in another area of UK, SERPWoo is going to come in and use an IP address to see the same results, but yours might be slightly different because of where you're located with the location. Like maybe you see a different map pack, maybe you see a different local person who is in that particular area ranking within your city better than somebody else who's in the UK at the far end of the country. We feel that they're pretty accurate. I can definitely tell you I don't think it'll ever be 100% because there's just too many variables. But thanks for your question, John. Kenny has said, what would you do to move keywords from page 2 to page 1 using SERPWoo data? The answer that I would want to give you is if you're on page 2 right now and you've got 10 or more competitors in front of you, I'd be looking at what are those competitors doing daily, what have they done over the long term, and do you have enough data to actually make the right decision? So kind of what I went back to with maybe the Grinch Christmas lights and a few of the other slides, if you're watching somebody that you know is a long-term ranking site because you've been tracking it in SERPWoo for maybe a couple months, and there's a lot of people popping in and out, including yourself, but there seems to be one site that's got a long-standing ranking, and maybe they've bounced around from 4th to 9th. I would definitely look at what are they doing, because they obviously haven't dropped. They've got staying power. And then I would combine what they're doing with whoever seems to be ranking above them. Maybe it's 4th or 5th spot, and I would do some combination of that. And how you get that data is first tracking it, also using other tools if you're not getting enough data from us, like URL Profiler. Using tools like mentions or Google Alerts or Talkwalkers so that you can actually see if these people are actively participating in marketing and where they're at. I love using Google Alerts and mentions because lots of times I find where maybe a competitor of mine is very active on Reddit or they're very active on a forum, and maybe I wouldn't have picked up those links, especially not in real time, with a tool like Majestic or a tool with like SEMrush. So I would definitely advise you to start tracking. Definitely advise you to find out, who are the long-term players and who are the higher-end players, and find out what they're doing day to day by monitoring them and looking to see if they've got a great domain, which SERPWoo is going to show you all the metrics on their domain. See if their domain and SERP sightings is going up or down. Also, kind of question maybe if the keyword that you're playing in is the keyword that you really won't want to be in. So if it's a very volatile SERP, you might have to question yourself if you can actually rank in this, because you can do everything right, but if it's a very highly competitive or very highly volatile SERP, you could do everything right and still be kicked out within a few weeks. So thanks for your question, Kenny. Eric, did you have anything on that question as far as moving from page 2 to page 1?
The best tip that I can give with that, because it really is just a matter of using the fundamentals when you see you have momentum and taking advantage of the gaps that your competitors are leaving open. And so there's no magic bullet in my experience, but I will say that given that you can look again over the historical data, you really have, at least in some niches, you have very common trends. And so you have the ability, if you see a couple of things coming down the pipe or you see yourself about to cross a threshold, you can do you might be able to do a few things to bump yourself ahead of a few people in the ranks. But, I have nothing specific from page 2 to page 1. I have to admit that when it comes down to that, I just dig into the metrics more and do more of the fundamentals. I try to stay as creative as I can, but at a certain point, it's just about grinding through it. And my history with SEO has always been one of a reverse engineering standpoint, and I wasn't formally trained, as I'm sure a lot of guys on the webinar haven't been as well, but a lot of folks have, and so they'll approach it very differently. I go from the back. I look at the competitors first and do everything back from there, and so going from 2 to 1 is just a matter of digging in more of that and doing more of the fundamentals, more good content, more linking, more creativity, more creative linking, and more creative content. It's just more, the page 2 to page 1 is usually just a rush for me, and it's the last sprint before you have to start getting expensive creative.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah. So we'll start wrapping up. I'll visit a few questions here. So we're right about an hour. So I'll start wrapping up. But I wanted to tell Travis, thanks, Travis, for your compliment. I definitely see it here. Got another one here where somebody asked me. Oh, it was John. John asked me, how do we rate SE Cockpit? And no, SE Cockpit is a great tool. We're definitely at different ends here. I personally don't use it. Why would I use it if I've got SERPWoo? But I definitely have nothing bad to say about SE Cockpit. I think years before I had a small trial membership with them. But being a programmer and wanting the tools that I want, SERPWoo is definitely the solution for me. And it's not just because I helped build it or I co-own it. But SE Cockpit's great. Every tool is going to offer you something different. But if you want to use SE Cockpit, great team, been around for a long time, and hopefully we can help supplement your needs with SERPWoo, John. But thanks for your answer. Let's see here. John, it was him also asked if exact match domains are still effective. I think it's definitely something that needs to be tested. I'm more in favor of, instead of an exact match domain, which could possibly accidentally help me get an over-optimization penalty, I'm kind of more in favor of, a phrase, possibly. Like for the Grinch Christmas lights, it might have just been Grinch lights, or maybe it was by Grinch Christmas lights. So I'm looking at phrase stuff. You don't see very many exact match domains very often, but that doesn't mean that in the future that things change with the algorithm and that those pop back up. So if I were to offer you a plan as far as, if you want to buy an exact match domain, I would definitely say if you've got the $9 or $10 to do it, but also maybe spend an additional 30 or 40 buying related domain names just as a safety measure. And if you're building a huge site on that, then yes, just get one domain and make it be a phrase match. But if it's something important like e-commerce or something that you want to hang on to a long time, I would suggest that instead you go for branding. So if you want to do exact match, think of it as a supplemental type of tactic. I think that's it for the questions, guys. Listen, to all of the attendees out there, thanks for attending. Yes, one question just came in. The new training center should be live tomorrow, if not within the next 48 hours. And it will have knowledge from C. Carter, yes. But thanks, guys, for attending SERPWoo. Eric, thank you very much for helping out. And
my pleasure, anytime.
Yeah, and everybody reach out to Eric at vistalink.com, and he can definitely help you. And if you haven't upgraded or paid for an account, then you're getting ready to miss out on that 25% increase. So I'm going to let everybody do it within the next 5 minutes after the webinar, and then it's closed up. But look forward to an email that will contain this recording and the PowerPoint presentation so that you can go through it, as well as more information. Thanks, guys.